11 Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the Simulation Football League. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to London in the beautiful United Kingdom. It's prime time here on the SFL on 11 Sports. The London Knights on a 3-game losing streak and in desperate need of a victory tonight to keep their playoff hopes alive. Coming into town, the 1-9 St. Louis Gladiators, but the Gladiators coming off of their first win of the season last week in tremendous fashion against the San Francisco Bulldogs. Alongside Charles Doherty, I'm Cameron Irvine. Charles, how are you doing this evening?
I am doing great. I'm looking forward to a great game. We've got London that still has hope in the playoffs. They need to win tonight. They need to win the rest of the season and probably rely on some folks outside of London to do some things for them. And then you mentioned St. Louis. Great win for the franchise last week. They snapped a 10-game losing streak. They played out of their minds, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they do tonight.
It's the fish and chips rivalry in which St. Louis has never won. This is the fourth meeting. The bet between the owners is that the loser has to eat the opposite food culture, I guess. And we'll get to more of that in a moment. St. Louis is going to kick, and London will get the ball to start the first half. Charles, your keys to the game.
Well, this could be the battle of the halfbacks tonight. We've got Reggie Streeter on the London side that's pretty much leading in every statistical category there is. And I don't expect that to change that much tonight. But then we also have on the St. Louis side Diesel Dawson, who basically had his coming out party last week, rushing for 146 yards and a touchdown. They've been feeding him the ball more. I look forward to more of that tonight, and I think the success of St. Louis is going to ride on the back of Dawson.
And with that, we are ready to go. From London, the 4-6 Knights, the 1-9 Gladiators, the fish and chips rivalry. Charles, Cam, Stephen Hacker, Rochelle Colston, and many more with us on the back end as we are underway. Galvez also here shadowing on stats in the truck as James Hands returns the kickoff up to the 34-yard line. And Rob Roby will get the start on the field in his third season in the SFL, second in the burgundy and gold.
Yeah, I expect to see, pretty much the offense relies on Streeter both on the ground and in the air, so I don't expect that to change too much tonight.
Reggie Streeter, an absolute monster for London. He's trying to get to 2,000 yards for the season, but London starts with an empty backfield and Roby changing the play. Roby dropping to throw, fires down the middle of the field. It's caught for a first down to the 48-yard line. And immediately, Charles, you just notice the size of this receiving core as James Hands, 6'6", 240, makes the catch.
Yeah, what a luxury to have your top two receivers 6'6" and 200 and some change. I mean, it's like playing against three tight ends out there with Trevor Farrell as well. So a lot of options there for Rob Roby.
First down at the St. Louis 48-yard line. 4 receivers, 3 to the top of the screen. Handoff. Streeter going nowhere. First carry of the night. And Reggie Streeter dropped for a loss of 3 yards. Tackle in the backfield made by William McDutch III, signing in Week 9.
Yeah, this is going to be a big game for the St. Louis Gladiators. They got a couple new signees, but also it's going to be a test for Shane Masters and Moore Rivers there on the line.
Second down and 13 at midfield. 3 in the backfield for Roby, and Roby again changing the play. And he'll throw out to Streeter. Streeter, a lot of room to the far side. Streeter breaks a tackle and steps out of bounds. Nice job by Drew Ridley, although he missed the tackle. Prevented Streeter from getting the first down and pushed him out of bounds at the 38.
Yeah, I think one more step in the right direction, he would have had a first down. I mean, he's hard to, Streeter's hard to bring down one-on-one.
So if London wins the game, St. Louis owners have to eat fish and chips for a week. If St. Louis wins the game, the London owner has to eat barbecue for a week. And it's just been a fun rivalry going over the last few seasons since the London Knights got a team as Reggie Streeter picks up the first down. Liam Crowder, the team owner of London, actually got his coaching career and pedigree started in St. Louis a few seasons back before he got his own team.
Yeah, see, the thing about it's a win-win between barbecue and fish and chips, but I think if you have to pick one, I mean, you probably want to go barbecue. It's safer than fish and chips, because if you don't have proper fish and chips, you have a bad day.
I don't know what fish and chips is like in Florida and Michigan, which is where the two team owners are located for St. Louis, joint ownership outside of the city. As that pass is complete for a 4-yard pickup. That's number 47, Maxi Rodriguez, on the catch. The London Knights offense includes Roby Streeter, fullback Evan Wood, Donnie Hands, James Hands, the number 11 and 12 respectively, and the tight end is Trevor Farrell, who was used very sparingly last week in London's loss. Trips to the left side at 8:35 to go in the first quarter, and Roby will drop the throw. That pass is caught to a wide open Donnie Hands, and Hands picks up the first down to the 24.
Yeah, I really like their play calling so far in the first quarter. Good mix-up. We're not seeing an overdose of Reggie Street at this point, so it's really keeping the defense of St. Louis guessing.
So 2.5 in, St. Louis's offense has not gotten to hit the field. They've got a young team, but an ever-improving team. It'll be interesting to see how they respond here in a hostile environment on the road. Roby's out of the shotgun. London trying to snap a 3-game losing streak. They were 4-3, and they're now a distant about 14th in the standings, but still certainly have a shot at the playoffs. Farrell picks up 5 and into the red zone of the 19-yard line.
It looks like the St. Louis line is trying to get some pressure on the quarterback of London, and so far doesn't look like they've been able to get past that offensive line of London, but I think that's going to be a key here for St. Louis to win the game.
2nd and 5, 7:52 to go in the first quarter. Again, 3 backs in the backfield. They threw out of this formation last time. Streeter dropped for a loss of 1. Back at the 20, that's Moore Rivers, the number 1 overall pick in the draft this past offseason. And I would say, Charles, he has been as advertised, had a nice season.
Yeah, he's been playing up to form, and he's fitting in well with Shane Masters, and he's also given Shane Masters some options because they're starting to worry about Rivers on the line now.
Masters, an Australian, giving this game even further international flair as Roby hit as he threw, and the pass is over the head of Trevor Farrell. Nice pressure in the backfield, and you called him, Charles. He answers. Shane Masters applying the pressure, stalls the drive out that nearly took 4 minutes.
Yeah, Shane Masters last week was just out of this planet. He had 4 sacks and seemed like he was in the face of the quarterback on every play, and he's going to need some more of that today to get the W for St. Louis.
So this will be a 36-yard field goal attempt. The kicker for London is Jose Noe, 6 foot 180, one of the smaller kickers in the league. And his 36-yard field goal off a great snap and a perfect hold is up and good. And London, yes way, has the first points of the night. You've been waiting all season for that.
Yes, I was loaded with that one.
The field goal is good, and now for the first time tonight, we'll get a chance to look at St. Louis's offense. On that opening drive, Roby went 5 for 6, 46 yards, and actually completed passes to 4 different receivers, but Reggie Streeter, -2 yards on his first 3 carries. That's about as shocking of a start for any player I've seen this season. For St. Louis on the return, sidestep to the left. Nice little giddy up from number 11, number 21, Freeman Peltier. And Noah Johns gets his first shot.
Yep, here we go. Noah Johns also. We mentioned Dawson having a coming out party last week. Johns had a great week last week as well and got player of the game honors with 242 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception.
Out of the gun for Noah Johns. This St. Louis team, a little bit of a rocky time in the middle of the season especially. We're suffering some pretty bad losses, but they've turned some things around as that pass is caught by Finch, a pickup of 2. St. Louis, Charles, they've been at the bottom of the standings for the past few seasons, but you really start to feel like with what Cody Scott has been able to do, particularly offensively, and the camaraderie around this team, they're really starting to band together and put something together here.
Yeah, definitely. Scott got a lot of accolades last week for the game plan he put together, and I'm really excited to see what he does tonight.
2nd and 2 at the 41, 2 in the backfield, handoff to Dawson, and Dawson is crushed just beyond the line of scrimmage. That tackle made by Robin Murdoch, and it'll set up a 3rd and 1.
Yeah, big 3rd and 1 here. I like it. I like keeping Dawson involved in the game. Even though he's not getting a positive run on that one, it's always good to get the running back getting some reps out there.
6:15 to go in the first. Handoff. Dawson running the wrong way and is going to lose a yard, trying to stretch it outside, but London had the gaps closed. That's DeAndre Washington with the tackle. He was the 10th pick in the last rookie draft, and with so many high-profile rookies on the field, it is certainly not too late to tell you that the next rookie draft is Saturday, December 14th. The first round will be broadcast live from the 11 Sports studios and on 11 Sports, so don't miss your opportunity to get drafted right from your living room live on television Saturday, December 14th, and join SimulationFL.net and our Discord channel for more information. We're going to take a quick break. St. Louis defense quickly back out on the field. 5:38 to go in the first. London 3, St. Louis nothing. You're watching the Simulation Football League presented by APM Music on 11 Sports. We will be right back. Welcome back to Queensway in London, 3-0. The Knights on top of the Gladiators trying to keep their postseason hopes alive. They're very much alive right now, but need to turn things around. Roby, deep shot knocked away by Colin Douglas. Pass intended for James Hands, and that's just the second incompletion of the night for Roby.
Yeah, a little more touch on that pass, and James Hand would have been house. I think a good note here involving London is they're undefeated at home. They don't have a very they've lost every game on the road. So statistically, St. Louis has got quite the hill to climb up.
Yeah, it's pretty. They've been pretty spectacular here, and obviously, I mean, it's such a long travel for these franchises. It's a very difficult place to play. Streeter only picks up 2 yards, so now 4 carries, no yards for Reggie Streeter in the first half, and that tackle was made by McDutch again.
Yeah, wow. That their defenses for the first quarter, for St. Louis, they've been showing that they're ready to play.
4 receivers, 3 to the top of the screen. Roby going play fake. Roby now going deep, and that pass is caught. What? No, they said he was out of bounds.
Wait a minute.
I think you got to challenge that. James Hands at the bottom of your picture, and let's see what Mr. Crowder wants to do.
There you go.
And there will be a challenge.
I always wonder why they don't ask the guy in front to move in front of 62, because they're taking away some camera time from him.
Yeah, what's up with that, man? All right, let's take a look here.
It looks like 1 foot.
That's
a solid foot.
Yeah, that's a solid foot, maybe 2 on the front end of that play.
Yeah, that fake handoff, that play action really threw off the safety on that one. He was able to get that pass.
And Crowder's going to win the challenge. So, London has been going through a bit of a shakeup over the last couple of weeks. Just kind of it feels like almost trying to take the franchise in a different direction, and that's caused a little bit of uneasiness amongst Knight fans, but London can put all that past them tonight. They've got to win this game. They've got Vancouver coming to their house next week. They looked real good. The last broadcast is that pass caught by Farrell, pickup of 6 down to the St. Louis 38. The Legion are now 5-6 after their 59-7 thrashing over San Francisco. No matter how you slice it, London, Vancouver, next week going to be insane.
It's going to be an insane game. But one other little small point I want to make on this. I'm looking forward to seeing Evan Wood, the fullback, block for Reggie Streeter. He's 6'2", 265.
Big boy. 4:52 to go in the first, 2nd and 4. And the handoff goes to Streeter. Best run of the night for Streeter. Spins off of 2 tackles and gets 6 to the 32-yard line. Wrap-up made by Marquise Reed. And let's meet this very talented St. Louis defense on the line. Shane Masters, number 77, Moore Rivers, number 74, and watch out for Matty Flynn, just signed this week, defensive end number 57. Linebackers, J.J. Tiger, number 97, McDutch III, number 94, he already has 2 tackles. Corners are Drew Riley, number 40, Colin Douglas, number 44. Safeties, Freeman Peltier, Ethan Kai, and Marquise Reed. As that pass is caught by Streeter in the flat, to pick up a 5, and already back in field goal range, the Knights, they have had 2 really good drives to start the game.
Yeah, nice play selection, a good mix of run and pass, and I think Streeter's starting to feel his extra gear here for this game.
Already 83 yards passing, on pace for over 400 right now for Roby, and James Hands already with 44 yards on 2 receptions. 2 receivers either side for Roby out of the empty set. Roby dropping back, near side caught, and just shy of the sticks. James Hands already 3 catches, 49 yards, heavily involved in the game plan tonight.
Yeah, that's just not knowing where you are on the field. I mean, it was a great route he ran, and good pass. It just got out of bounds. One more step, he would have had the first down.
3rd and inches at the 22. And for St. Louis, this could be the difference of falling down by 6 or falling down by 10 early. 2 in the backfield. Roby going to throw. And Roby's got Streeter wide open. He goes opposite direction. Oh, Douglas.
Wow.
Farrell was looking for the football and didn't even see Douglas coming in.
Oh, my
Roby
Lord.
left Farrell out on an island, and he paid the price.
Yeah, Colin Douglas came in there and just knocked him out.
That was a vicious hit. By the way, James Hands, 3 games this season over 100 yards, but he hasn't had a touchdown in the last 2 weeks. The offense is still out there on 4th and inches with 8 on the play clock, 7 in the box, and London will burn the timeout. But in the last 2 weeks for London, James Hands just 7 catches for 35 yards. He has 49 yards on 3 grabs in the first quarter, so they're getting him more involved in the game plan so far today.
Yeah, it looks like they're spreading the ball around, which is a good sign.
So I think the biggest question mark for us, Charles, heading into Week 13 is what in the world are we going to call next week? There are so many exciting games, and we're going to go over that slate when we come back from break after this commercial break. But there's a 39-yard field goal here for London, first and foremost, to try to put the Knights up 6-0. And a high snap, but put down nicely. And the field goal by...
Yes way? No, Jose, no way. Sorry.
Puts it through. It's 6-0. And London, 2 possessions, 2 scores. Not too shabby of a start. Still trying to stay undefeated at home in the 13th season of the SFL. We're back to the United Kingdom after a word from your local station. Back here in London, we apologies, we missed the return, but Peltier got it up to the 23-yard line. So Noah Johns goes back to work. Haven't seen much out of the St. Louis offense tonight, just 1 3 and out. And Johns will flip it out.
Wow.
Oh, what a
nice
catch!
pass.
Turning back behind him for a one-handed catch. That is Badir Ajlani. And that might be his most impressive catch of his career. Look at this.
Yeah, that was well placed pass too, right over the shoulder of the linebacker. Nice touch by Johns as well.
That almost hit Washington in the back of the helmet. That was a tremendous catch from Ajlani, and the first move of the chains of the game for St. Louis. First down at the 33. Now out of the gun for Johns for the first time tonight, and he'll change the play. Johns to throw, Fires near side. Ajlani again with a nicely played footwork on the sideline. 5-yard gain to the 38.
Yeah, so I was talking about Wood on the London offensive side, but they also have on St. Louis Don Billingsley, who's 6'5", 275 as a fullback. I mean, they've got some big boys back there blocking.
Lots of beasts out there at the fullback position tonight. Handoff goes to Diesel Dawson. Dawson, I don't know how he got the first down. Dawson, a big player himself, moving the chains.
Yeah, maybe Billingsley had his fingerprints on that. You got a 275-man running. He's gonna open up some holes.
For the first time tonight, we shout out the chat. AJ Today, Jackson, Cheeseburger Rivers, Swole 2011, Sportsfan 39, C Roland 84, Rob's Gaming Team, Suicide King, and many others in the chat as that pass again is caught by Ajlani for a pickup of 5, and St. Louis is moving now near midfield.
Yeah, I like the play calling here on the pass side. There look like conservative passes, and I believe Johns hasn't missed a pass yet. I think he's thrown 4 for 4 so far.
He is 4 for 4 for 28 yards, and a lot of teams in the chat right now pulling for St. Louis to try to help make their postseason situation just a little bit better. As the handoff goes to Dawson, wide open. Wow. Dawson almost broke away for a touchdown, but gets it out to the 38-yard line before finally being wrapped up by Samuel Cassidy.
Look at the hole there, Cam. Incredible blocking on the line for St. Louis.
95 seconds left in the quarter. This is St. Louis's second drive of the night, and it trumps the first one, no doubt about it. Just a 3 and out on 8 yards for the Gladiators, as Johns is going to throw again. Not afraid tonight, down the middle of the field, and almost intercepted. That was Cassidy again.
Wow.
Getting a hand on it.
Yeah, that was dangerous. I'm not a big fan of those passes in the middle from from 8 to 15 yards, because that seems to be where all the piranhas swim.
That was dangerous. Kevin Flynn came in to try to make the catch. The Gladiators' offense includes Johns and Dawson, but also that fullback Don Billingsley that you mentioned earlier. Nick Finch, Badir Ajlani are the receivers. Haven't heard from Cody Scott yet tonight, the tight end number 88. And then also keep an eye out for Reed Mitchell, number 87, and Kevin Flynn, number 81, who have gone from couch to field in just the last month. As Johns' deep ball is over the head of Ajlani, but nice effort from Badir to try to reel that in, but it'll bring up 3rd and 10.
Yeah, that was a hard ball to bring in. I mean, that was just out of the reach of the wide receiver, but maybe a little more, bring it down a little bit more. We could have had a first down and goal.
And if you want to go from couch to field, visit simulationfl.net and join our Discord server. Tuesdays and Wednesdays, rookies can check in, and that means that your players' stock in the draft will go up with every week you check in. So the longer you're here, the better your player can be. Live coverage of the first round of the rookie draft is Saturday, December 14th, and later rounds will follow after the weekend and before the Christmas holidays. Dawson, nothing doing on that check down. And St. Louis, just before scoring position, stalls out.
Well, it wasn't a first down, obviously, but maybe we saw a little bit of the maturation there for Noah Johns. Everything was covered downfield by the London secondary, and he just checked it off to his halfback. Didn't get the first down, but he didn't get an interception, which he might have done maybe earlier in the season.
This punt angled beautifully inside the 10. It's going to bounce all on its own down to the 3-yard line. Bo Zabrowski with that kick. And Doug Day in the chat says, Cam, if you call our game next week, I'll send you a California burrito. And I'm telling you, Charles, I don't think I want to eat a burrito that's been in the mail from California to Texas.
I don't know what a California burrito is. Is it from California, or is it a type of style of burrito?
It must be a type of style, but all I know is the type of style of burrito that comes in the mail is squished and unappetizing.
Yeah, don't open the sour cream.
1st and 10 at the 3, and Streeter not getting anything. And St. Louis's front line, got to give them props, as that wrap-up made by Matty Flynn at defensive end.
Yeah, they're doing what they need to do. I mean, that should be the game plan. They need to stack it up on the line there and keep Streeter from getting that yard per carry and also getting the face of the quarterback.
Might be the final play of the quarter here. 3 in the backfield. St. Louis trying to make a stand, and Streeter.
Nice.
Boy, he's getting rocked out there. Did what he could to pick up 2 yards. And that brings us to the end of the first quarter. Both teams feeling each other out a little bit still, but London has the early 6-0 lead, trying to improve to 5-6 and move up those delicate standings. We're back to London in a moment. Tonight's Simulation Football League broadcast on 11 Sports is presented by APM Music, Production Music Library, and Custom Music House, and brought to you in part by Fuel Beyond Imagination. Visit the all-new SFLinteractive.net today. By Matt Doyle Designs, the official branding partner of the SFL, and by Media Tech Institute, turn your passion into your profession. Aerial shots brought to you by Airviews, United by Drone. Visit airviews.com to see more drone footage.
Cam, your family property looks outstanding. I'd love to go out there sometime.
My family property. Now, I will say there is a beautiful Irvine Castle out in Scotland.
Was that not Irvine Castle?
I don't believe so. I don't want to show where I live, where my off-season home is. As a Streeter will only pick up a few. They run the ball on 3rd and 8. After Streeter had just 8 yards on 7 carries, he only gets 3 there, and London has to punt. That was a bizarre play call.
Yeah, but you got to give it to the St. Louis defense. They're keeping Streeter in check so far. I know it's early in the game, but so far so good for St. Louis.
Packed house here at Queensway. London has played very well here at home. Shocking that they finished 0-6 on the road, but some exciting home games ahead for them. Peltier's going to end up with great field position here at the 39-yard line. And this late game, London has had a lot of early kickoffs this year. Of course, the league has to accommodate them for much of the season, but once or twice a year, London has these midnight games. It's sort of like a celebration. Really, it's just an excuse to have a longer tailgate. That's all that is. But yeah, late nights here in London. But all the fans having a great time with the lights on as Johns will fire quickly. Nice. Badiraj lining to the 20. The conviction from Noah Johns as soon as he got the ball, impressive for the rookie.
Yeah, he's definitely shown confidence back there. He's getting the ball. I mean, the accuracy is just off the charts. Look at the placement here. He's got a good pass protection there. Got the ball right where he needed to be at the right time.
And it just goes to show you, Charles, coaching in a league, if you're watching at home, you're saying, how is this possible? How can this be a competitive esport when there's no controllers being utilized. The coaching.
Look at
Russell.
Holy
Speaking
mackerel.
of coaching, touchdown,
Hello.
St. Louis, the first score of the night, and we're tied at 6. And it takes me back to my point, Charles. The scout work that is done during the week, the understanding your personnel and how to make them most effective.
Look at that blocking.
Just
wow.
big talent.
Oh my God.
To be a great coach in this league, and St. Louis, we were talking about in the break, they just look like a smarter coach football team in the last couple of weeks.
And that's a big series there. I mean, the defense did what they needed to do, gave them the ball in sweet position, and they were able to capitalize on it. And I mean, I'm seeing a totally different team on the field.
This extra point could give St. Louis the lead. The kicker is Graham Northrup. And the extra point is good, and it's 7-6. Gladiators on top of London. Like the SFL on Instagram at Simulation FL. Give Nation's Best a like while you're there. Just search Nation's Best on Instagram. See all of their phenomenal content. The Knights can't feel too bad. 2 possessions, 2 scores. Just got to get back on the horse.
Yeah, maybe get into the end zone too.
That would help. From the 12, hands on the return, and well covered. Look at Peltier. Freeman Peltier plays special teams with his team too. He does it all, and it stops Donnie Hands at the 30. For St. Louis, we'll get to London's defense on the next go-around, but they've had some signings recently, including Dwayne Hamby, who was signed just last week at free safety. We'll get to know him a little bit better on the next series when Johns and company's on the field. 1st and 10 for the 30. Play action from Roby. Roby got smacked in a bullet to Donnie Hands impressively in his 3rd season.
Yeah, I think that play action gave him just the amount of time to get the ball to Hands. I mean, if he would have just done a direct throw, I think the cornerback would have been all over him.
And look at Dwayne Schindler in the chat, the co-owner of St. Louis. Hashtag Liam eats ribs. Liam Crowder, the owner of London. Dwayne Schindler, co-owner in St. Louis. Handoff to Streeter. Streeter bounces away from 1, 2, and then gets popped by Marquise Reed. A 4-yard gain for Streeter, but man, they are making him earn it. 15 yards on 9 carries.
Yeah, they are, and that's hard to do against Streeter. I mean, nobody's been able to stop him to date, but so far, so good for St. Louis.
We have had 4 incompletions in this first half, a combined 17 of 21 from both quarterbacks. 2nd and 6 at the 44. 22nd pass of the night for Roby, and I jinxed him. Broadcast curse strikes again. No gain is Drew Riley. It was appeared to be in man coverage coming over on a crossing route.
Yeah, they had that lockdown from the snap. I mean, I'm really impressed with the defensive play calling as well for St. Louis.
8:48 to go in the first half. Coming up next, Sioux Falls takes on Alaska in a very important game for Sioux Falls and many other teams, along with Alaska as well. But Alaska sitting a little bit prettier right now. Sioux Falls 5-5. They have lost to Alaska, I think it's 5 or 6 consecutive times. They really need a win to avoid falling to 5-6. That pass nearly intercepted, really on the coverage of Donnie Hands. And Drew really has hashtag made an impact here in the first half, and London's going to have to punt again.
Yeah, he really is where he needs to be. I mean, the last couple plays, he's been there. And on that particular play, he was all over the wide receiver and wasn't going to let that pass get completed.
So Phil Hunter, the punter for London, getting a little busy here. Back-to-back punts after back-to-back field goals for the Knights offense. This will be St. Louis's 4th possession. And Peltier from the 15, not much room after the 17-yard line. So this defense for London includes William Davidson on the line at defensive tackle. Alessandro Tomello was signed in week 8 at defensive end. Linebackers, they have the best linebacking duo in the league, I think. DeAndre Washington, Slim Shady, although Blake Craze and Clint Hendershot might have something to say about that. Even Arthur and Dean Maddox are the corners, and its safeties are Jeff Malinishin, Dwayne Hamby, and Nathan Blake. First and 10 at the 17. Johns has a split back with 4 down linemen. Handoff on a trap to Dawson. And Dawson pushes a couple of Knights ahead for 8 yards. 45 now total on 6 carries for the Diesel.
Yeah, he's averaging close to 8 yards per carry, and I think you're seeing the effect that Don Billingsley's having in that backfield. I mean, every time I've watched on the running play, Billingsley has just laid out the opposing defender.
3 in the backfield for the Gladiators, protecting a 7-6 lead here on the road in London. The handoff goes to Dawson, and Dawson freight trains his way to the 33.
Hey, those holes are incredible. I mean, they're blocking like you know they're gonna get something at the end of the game. I mean, this is incredible. Great holes, and Dawson's capitalizing on it.
Well, if I would have told you Dawson would have 39 more yards than Reggie Streeter almost halfway through the second quarter, I think everyone would be raising their eyebrows. First and 10 at the 33. Back to pass. Johns all day to throw. Johns throws an interception. Noah Johns staring down his receiver in the middle of the field, and DeAndre Washington makes the play.
DeAndre Washington, you know, he's got. I know he's fighting with Sconsing from Las Vegas for Defensive Rookie of the Year, but I think that play right there maybe put him ahead of Sconsing with that interception.
Yeah, where do you sit on that on the side of that argument? Both have had impressive seasons.
Well, I mean, he's third in the league in tackles, and in this league, that's saying a lot for a rookie.
Absolutely. 3 in the backfield, 7:31 to go in the first half. Streeter takes a pass in the open field. Streeter gets a first down and picks up 11. Streeter more yards on the ground, more yards through the air than on the ground in the first half.
Well, you know, he's doing what he needs to do. If it doesn't work on the ground, then he does it in the air. But, you know, I think that it was good to get him involved in the passing game a little bit more.
It's worth noting that St. Louis fighting for a little bit of pride tonight as well. Carolina lost to Seattle tonight, or earlier this afternoon. That makes Carolina 1-10. If St. Louis wins tonight, they might secure that they will not be the number 1 pick in next year's draft. Wide open, though. Wow. Trevor Farrell says, hold on just a second, St. Louis. You might want to book your plans, and Farrell doing the Charles Doherty specialty with the robot in the end zone.
You threw me off on that one, Cam. Farrell gets his 4th touchdown of the season there. He was wide open. I think they were expecting a run on defense and caught him napping in the secondary.
Big bounce back there for the Knights. Punted on the last 2 drives. Charles doing the robot off camera. 6:55 to go in the first half, and London strikes back. And this is going to be a fun game. Both of these teams have a lot on the line, and personal pride at stake for sure on either side, as the extra point is good from no way, and with 6:55 to go in the first half, the Knights back on top. The lead exchanging hands now twice in the last few minutes. We're back to London after this. A back-and-forth battle here in prime time. The London Knights hosting the St. Louis Gladiators. It's probably worth noting, Charles, that St. Louis hasn't had a lot of primetime games over the last couple of years. Play a lot of their games in the afternoon if you're ever looking for a Gladiator game. But this is a big moment for this franchise. It can really put them on the map. It could help with recruiting in the offseason. It could help their momentum, pushing forward still for next season. Even though St. Louis is eliminated from the playoffs, it's a big moment for this franchise.
Yeah, it definitely is. And, you know, with a win like they had last week, I think they deserve to be on prime time. I mean, that was a convincing win. And I think that we might have awoken the London Knights on that last score of St. Louis. I think they're ready to put some points up now.
I agree. London's looked solid. 3 scores in 5 possessions. Dawson leaps over a defender who had gotten blocked down on the ground and picks up 5 more yards. Now 57 in the first half for Dawson.
Yeah, Dawson, I think he's the tallest running back in the league. And, once he gets past that first block, he's hard to bring down. But I think a guy that big, I don't know if he's got the first step quickness to get into that hole, but I think once he gets past that with good blocking, I think he's really hard to bring down.
6'4". He reminds me a lot of Johnny English, which is going back old school in the SFL archives. But he was a big running back, played a lot of his time in Carolina and with Honolulu. And Dawson, could not pick up the block. That was blown up by Nathan Blake, and that was London's best defensive play of the night.
Well, you could say that, but you could also say that if he would have followed Bigham Smith, his lead blocker, he would have had a first down and then some. He just took a step to the left when he should have taken a step to the right. He had that hole was, I could have got a first down on that one.
Handoff Dawson on a 3rd down and 3, and he is stuffed by Davidson, and St. Louis will not pick up the first down. And London answering the call after they fell behind off the Dawson touchdown.
Yeah, a big stop for the London defense. It seemed as if the running game for St. Louis was starting to rev up, but they just shut it down at the right time.
So St. Louis will have to punt the football. 5:22 to go in the first half. The lefty, Zabrowski, with the kick to the 36. Hands will inch up to the 41-yard line with 5:13 to go. It's also a big day in the SFL tomorrow night. Queen City is 5-5. They really need a win against Tallahassee, who's trying to move up the standings. Tulsa plays at 7. They are 5-5. Charleston still with a very slight, less than 1% chance to make the playoffs. It starts with a win tomorrow. And then the fan night game of the week, Baltimore hosts Chicago. Both those teams suffering losses, rare losses this season last week. They need that badly. Roby deep, and it's Drew Riley again making the play down the field. Incomplete pass, 2nd down.
Yeah, even if the pass would have had the right touch on it, I don't think that Donnie Hands was in bounds to even catch that. It looked like he was maybe a step or two out of bounds. So that was an odd play.
5:08 to go in the first half. Quiet day for Donnie Hands so far. 18 yards, 2 catches, 4 targets. Farrell has the touchdown and now has 41 yards. Roby, 12 of 18 for a $139. Streeter breaks a tackle, and then he is pushed back by Reed and Douglas, who have no regard for their human health. They are just giving their bodies all tonight.
Well, yeah, they know that it's going to take more than one person to bring down Streeter, and so far that you've seen that they're flying to the ball, and it's taken 2 or 3 guys bringing him down.
3rd and 5 at the 46, 4:40 to go. Play action again from Roby. They've been doing a lot of that tonight. Roby hit as he threw, and they're going to say it was an incomplete pass going forward. That was dangerous to being a fumble as Biggins makes the play. Mo Biggins in the backfield, and another punt for London.
Yep, they got into the face of the quarterback and disrupted him. We talked about what they needed to do at the top of the game, and so far, I think they're getting a B+ across the board.
London 33 plays in the first half, just to St. Louis's 22. Cody Scott doesn't even have a target in the first half for the Gladiators, as London will punt it away. From the 17-yard line, St. Louis up to the 20. The Gladiators, they had a moment in their season where they decided, you know what, it is time for us to make a change. That came in week 7 when St. Louis lost to San Francisco 43-0. After that, the Gladiators had a thrilling game against Las Vegas. They lost 31-28. They had to go to Mexico City, which is a really tough road trip for anybody, as Dawson picks up 4. But after that 3-point loss to Vegas, the Gladiators played Vancouver quite well, 30-16 at home. Just had a ton of red zone turnovers. Otherwise, they would have won that game. Then the Gladiators last week just thrashed San Francisco 31-13, and it wasn't even that close. And you can see from that moment on, when they lost to the Sharks. Things have turned around for St. Louis on a 2nd down and 6. Johns fires it outside. One-handed catch on the far side by Kevin Flynn. Nicely done, new fella.
Yeah, definitely nicely done. And this is going to be a big series for Noah Johns to see if he can shake off that interception from the last series.
He's 8 for 10, but just 51 yards. Hasn't taken too many risks tonight. Dawson's up to 67 yards on 11 carries for the score. 3rd down and 2. On 3rd and 3, they handed it to Dawson last time, and he couldn't get it. 4 receivers in the pattern, and John's going to throw. John's outside. Cody Scott, first down. Scott breaks a tackle out of the 35. They split Scott out wide all by himself, and he ran a little tiny out route to get the first down. That was very good play calling.
Yeah, very good play calling. It looks like maybe they used Dawson on a decoy on the opposite side. It looks like the defense was prepared for that one, maybe not so much for Scott going on the right side flat.
So 3:35 to go in the first half. It's September 29th, and in less than 2 weeks, Saturday, October 12th, it is Wild Card Weekend. Action starts at 5 Eastern, 4 Central, before the battle for the Golden Horseshoe between UC Davis and UC Poly here on 11 Sports. It's going to be a fun day of football in a couple of Saturdays.
I thought about one point transferring out to one of those schools.
Really?
Back in the day.
Well, UC Irvine is my preference out there, but California got a lot of schools.
That's another property your family owns. Wow.
Scott turning the corner. Didn't think he had that much space out to the London 47-yard line to pick up the first down, and all of a sudden, Cody Scott very active.
Yeah, all of a sudden. I mean, it's the right time. I love it when they get the tight end engaged in the game. It always adds flexibility to the quarterback, but also keeps the defense guessing.
Look at London chasing there defensively. The Scott really running that route wide, and I can't believe I got all those R's out in that sentence without screwing that up. Can't even say that one time fast. Make the stream more seeable in the chat. Welcome to the Simulation Football League. I've not seen your username around these parts before, so we welcome you to the broadcast as Nick Finch picks up 7. And if you want to get involved in chatting with SFL coaches, players, owners, fans, you can visit twitch.tv/11 Sports next to join the conversation.
Yeah, smart play calling for St. Louis there. And again, they're moving the ball around on both sides of the field. It'd be good to see if maybe they get the running back engaged.
Do you remember your first time you ever popped into a chat? You remember that moment as Dawson gets outside and almost got the first down? And actually, I'll come back to you when we come back from this commercial break. 2-minute warning, 3rd and inches at the 37. St. Louis on another drive. Get your keys out. We're back to Queensway after a word from 11 Sports. Welcome back to London, 13-7. The Knights have a 6-point lead, trying to improve to 5-6 and snap a 3-game losing streak. 3rd and short for St. Louis, just right outside of field goal range. They've been here once before tonight and had to punt. Hand off to Dawson, and Dawson got the first down. Not by much, though. Well defended there by London. The tackle made by Robin Murdoch.
Love the play call. Love it, love it, love it. Run it up in their face. I mean, they haven't been able to stop them. The blocking's been great for St. Louis, and it's real smart.
Express new in the chat. Welcome in as well. SimulationFL.net is the website as Dawson is hit in the backfield by Slyn Shady. So back to your first chat. What was that like?
I saw the SFL on YouTube. I heard about Discord. I went in and I introduced myself, and it, literally in 10 minutes, I think you called me on the phone.
I think so.
And
yeah.
I found out you live in my same neighborhood, actually.
Boy, back in the day when I could. Oh, there goes down goes Johns, a 4-yard loss. St. Louis going to have to burn a timeout, and a vicious hit in the backfield by Alessandro Tamello.
Wow, what a way to get your name known here on prime time. Big tackle. It's what they needed to do. They needed to stall that St. Louis game, that balanced attack of St. Louis.
Tamello signed in Week 8. I think that you had mentioned something. Didn't you mention something about broadcasting or something that got my attention? It must have been.
Yeah, and also I did sim football way back.
That's what it was. Yeah. You've dabbled, no doubt. 3rd and 14. John's out of the empty. He's going
Look
long.
at that. Look
and
at that.
He's got Aslani for a touchdown.
Are you kidding me?
Noah Johns' first touchdown of the night, and St.
Oh,
Louis
my
has
gosh.
tied the game.
Okay, I think he can take off his rookie jersey and put his veteran jersey on now. That was a veteran play. He was able to see how open the wide receiver was on that and get it to him just in time.
That was a nice little stop and go there from Aslani. Very subtle, but Badir Aslani's been a tremendous route runner tonight. And St. Louis strikes back. Touchdowns, not field goals. And how about this, Charles? Noah Johns is 15 for 17 for $148.
Yeah, we said he needed to shake off that early interception, and he so far so good.
Extra point coming for Graham Northrup. It'll put St. Louis ahead for the second time tonight. It'll be our third lead change in the last 5 minutes of game action. The extra point is good. And it's 14-13, St. Louis on top of London.
Yeah, they're going to make London earn this if they want to win. I mean, they're going to have. I think it's going to go to the last minute.
Knights have Donnie Hands back to return. And I think London's got to feel pretty good. Even though they're down by a point, they've really played a nice game tonight. Outside of Reggie Streeter kind of struggling a little bit in the running game, Roby has looked solid, kept a clean sheet, QBR of 102.7 so far tonight. Donnie Hands on the return, and he's wrapped up immediately at the 30. Nice tackle made by the big fella in space, Levi Eugene.
Yeah, so far they've kept Streeter pretty quiet, and I keep waiting for him to erupt, but so far, like as I said, he's been very, very quiet.
London got the ball first, so St. Louis, who deferred to the second half, will get the ball to start the second. 4 wide, 3 to the bottom of the screen for Roby. And the handoff to Streeter. Best run of the night for Reggie Streeter. Picks up 9, and London picking up the pace.
Yeah, I mean, that good run on first down. They got to keep them on their toes here.
It's got to make London feel a little bit better about getting points here before the end of the half. Deep drop back. Roby in trouble, and he is smashed down to the 31-yard line. Came flying in. And did you see Roby? He's like, whoa, no.
I don't know. He looks like he walked into his blocking.
Yeah, Roby looked unsure on that play. Tyrion Jones made the sack.
Yeah, that was an odd play there. That's not something that you typically see veterans do back there in the pocket.
3 wide now to the top of the screen for Roby on a 3rd down. Play action to Streeter. Roby going long, and it's over the head of Donnie Hands. That was the first poor throw of the night for Roby, and London will have to punt it away.
Yeah, guess who was covering him? Drew Reilly again.
Yeah, great point. Really's been all over him. Even if Roby would have put that pass on the money, I'm not sure he would have. Yeah, I'm not sure he would have caught it.
Yeah.
Well, St. Louis has to feel good. What do you think, Charles? If I was St. Louis, I'd give the ball to Dawson, go into the locker room.
Yeah.
I'm not fooling around with this.
Honestly, I think maybe at some level London might be a little surprised that St. Louis is playing the way they are. I mean, maybe the consistency from one game to another. They haven't been able to put it back to back, and so far they are. Back-to-back games, they're playing really well.
Yeah, what's interesting about this rivalry is that we have seen some of the craziest games in terms of turnovers, in terms of wild scores. These two teams actually met at the first convention that the SFL had and just played some bizarre games. I mean, London has won some of these games, but they have had a ton of turnovers in the process, as has St. Louis, but not a messy game at all tonight in the first half. Sidearm throw from Johns is caught for a 5-yard gain.
Yeah, the game, they've been pretty close. There've been one game that was a blowout that London won, but the other games looks like it's been either a point here or a touchdown there.
Yeah, so for the first time these two teams played, St. Louis was up 20-7 at the half. London scored 21 points in the third quarter. Nathan Lee was the quarterback for London back in the day. He had 6 picks. Dylan Aseel had 3. And then, we'll get to the next game in the series in a moment. It was just as bizarre. 2nd and 5, handoff Dawson. Dawson's got a first down.
Look at that.
Dawson breaks a tackle. 20 seconds to go in the half. And Dawson all the way into field goal range, and that will prompt St. Louis to call a timeout. Diesel Dawson now just shy of 100.
It didn't look like the hole was as big as it was on the earlier run plays, but he just really found that small hole, was able to slip through it and get a great run.
99 yards on 15 carries and a touchdown for Dawson. So the second time these two teams played, St. Louis was up 13-0 on the road here in London. But again, the turnover bug was serious for Nathan Lee in London. He threw 5 picks, but London still won the ball game as Johns wisely just throws it away. Nothing there. But Dylan Aseel for St. Louis was sacked 7 times in that game. And St. Louis ended up not being able to get the win. And as you mentioned, Charles, the third time these teams met, London jumped all over him, 14-0 in the first quarter. And St. Louis just couldn't get anything going offensively.
Yeah, that last play was smart by Johns to get rid of it, because I think earlier in the season he might have tried to force it down the field.
So now Graham Northrup's going to attempt a 52-yard field goal. St. Louis not trying to get any closer, and Northrup's kick is not even close. I think it almost hit the official as he kind of moved out of the way. And, well, if St. Louis didn't know that Northrop didn't have the leg for 52, they do now.
Yeah, that was like my golf game right there. We're trying to hit the green.
My golf game would have been if Northrop would have tried to kick the ball and fell over. That's what my golf game would have looked like.
Yeah, that was a head scratcher. They had some time to call a timeout and maybe move it down, maybe do a pass on the sideline, put their kicker in a little better position.
8 seconds to go in the first half. Now London has a chance to get into range. No Hail Mary out there so far, so Roby's actually going to try to get this a little closer. Maybe into range for their kicker. No way. Taking his time. Roby with 6 in the box. Goes play action again. They've been running that a lot tonight. Roby's pass is caught. With 3 seconds left, London will take a timeout. Donnie Hands with the catch, and Roby will try to sling it.
Yeah, definitely end zone material here. Not enough time to do anything else.
Crowder talking things over with Roby on the sideline. Halftime report coming up next.
What a luxury you have when you're going Hail Mary and you've got 2 wide receivers that are 6'6", and you got a 6'4" tight end.
Yeah, this is the team you want to have out there for Hail Mary. Also, Shiknami Langley is out there in the slot for London. St. Louis rushes 4. Picked up. Oh, missed a sack. Roby into the end zone, and that pass is almost caught. One-on-one coverage. James Hands had a legit shot at that football.
Looks like Hootie Haskins slapped that one away.
And that will end the first half, and St. Louis dodged a bullet there because that was about as close as to a successful Hail Mary as you can get. And St. Louis, winners of their first game last week, on top here in London, 14-13 at the half. Alongside Charles Doherty, I'm Cameron Irvine. You're watching the Simulation Football League on the 11 Sports Network. And 98 rushing yards in the first half. A very balanced attack for Dawson and the rest of this Gladiator squad.
Yeah, you gotta give accolades to the St. Louis defense. They've held Streeter in check. It's going to be tough to continue to do that for another 2 quarters, but so far, hats off to St. Louis.
So London right now has got to be thinking, all right, well, if we lose this week, it's not the end of the world, but it will make things a lot more difficult for us. If we can just take care of business against our rivals, it puts us in a really good position. We'll be 5-0 at home, welcoming a team that also is not as good on the road into our house in Vancouver next week, and all bets are off between 2 5-6 teams the last week of the season. That's where London wants to be.
Yeah, you always want to go strong into the playoffs. You don't want to back into it.
Yeah, and one team that isn't backing into it is Houston. Have you seen what Houston has done the last couple of? They throttled Mexico City yesterday.
They did.
That was on our Twitch network, and that was one of the more bigger surprises of the season. Although Houston now leads the all-time series against Mexico City 6-5. Those teams have met quite a bit over their time.
Wow, 11 times they've met, huh?
Yeah, it's one of the longest standing rivalries in the league. In fact, a lot of these games down the stretch in the league are some of the most played matchups, as these two teams are, teams know each other very well. You see a lot of rivalry games, a lot of games that matter a little bit more than just wins and losses.
Right, definitely.
Marquise Reed leads all tacklers with 4. Not often you see a stat that low. Both defenses have been pretty balanced.
Yeah, coming off the game last week, I think, especially on the London side, they had a couple of guys had, 9-10 tackles.
Along with Stephen Hacker on stats, Rochelle Colston and Galvez behind the scenes with him as well. Charles Doherty, I'm Cameron Irvine. It is a big crew tonight for one of the more exciting matchups of the week. London will kick it away to Freeman Peltier, and the second half starts now. Peltier on the return, and nothing there. Cut it left, and there was literally a wall of deep red. And Noah Johns, 16 of 19, a $153, a touchdown to pick in the first half, back to work.
Yeah, great first half for him. I mean, you couldn't ask for him to do any better than that. And let's see what kind of adjustments London makes on the defense to stop that the running game of St. Louis.
Streeter in the first half started to pick it up down the stretch, 32 yards, 11 carries, about 3 yards a carry. And Dawson only picks up 2. Second half adjustments, Charles. Going to be really interesting to see how they play Dawson in the running game.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that what Samuel Cassidy did on that play, the linebacker, is you got to have somebody with your eyes on Dawson at the entire time, and if you're waiting for that run and able to jump in there in the gap and able to bring him down.
Second down and 8, 10.5 to go in the third. Bunch set to the right of Johns, and Johns will throw. 3-step drop, dangerous, just got it away. Receiver fell over, and that was Flynn again, his second catch of the night. He's had a nice night.
Yeah, the way that play was starting to develop, I didn't think it was going to end up with a pass completion. I actually thought they were going to bring him down in the backfield because it looked like London was starting to get some penetration on the line, but smart play by Johns to get rid of it.
Flynn's now been targeted 4 times tonight, 9 yards on 2 receptions. Johns play fake, 3rd and 3 over the middle, caught at the 41-yard line. Dangerous ball in the area of Slyn Shady. But Nick Finch hauls it in, sure-handed Nick Finch.
Yeah, that is, like we said before, that is a very dangerous area. And in order to get those completions done, you need to, you can't think about it. You got to rifle that ball in there and get it in there quick.
9:35 left, 3 in the backfield, and Finch to the bottom of the screen for St. Louis. Gladiators protecting a 1-point lead on the road, and Diesel Dawson picks up 11 before he's even touched. And heavy blockers in there just running all over. I think it was a 3-down lineman set. Let's take another look.
Yeah, that was a double wide hole they gave to him. He had a lot of daylight. Oh my gosh.
That was a fullback blocking a free safety, and you never want to see that as a defense on the second level, right?
Yeah, that definitely. 275 pounds coming at you is definitely a nightmare.
1st and 10 at the 46. 9:05 to go in the third. Out of the eye, 2 receivers, 1 either side for Dawson, and a 3-4 look at London's defense. Johns back to pass, backwards pass to Dawson, and Dawson didn't have anywhere to go, maybe picked up a yard. Washington on the tackle.
Yeah, that play took forever to develop and gave that fast London linebacking core time to go in there and bring him down before making a gain.
And St. Louis, they are on some kind of drive. They have nearly had the ball for 3 minutes to start this half, and now have more plays than London offensively in the ball game with 42, now 43. Hand off to Dawson. Dawson got a few. It's a big third down for this rookie QB, needing to get to the 37-yard line.
It definitely is, because I think London probably has a pretty good idea on what they need to do on offense. So I have a feeling that they're going to strike quick when they get the ball back.
8:05 to go, third quarter, third down and 7. The left-handed Johns to throw. And Johns fires middle, caught at the 25-yard line.
You got to be kidding me. That
for
was
a first
great
down.
pass.
And it's Flynn again.
Oh, gosh. He did not have much room to get that ball in. Incredible pass by Johns.
Kevin Flynn making one heck of an impression here tonight. 3 grabs on the road in a big moment, and he hasn't dropped a thing.
Yeah, one of the interesting stat with St. Louis is I think they're one of the bottom teams, if not the worst as far as protecting their quarterback. And today it's like night and day. The offensive line has given a great pocket for Johns to work.
Just 1 sack for London. That was Tomello. This drive now 3.5 minutes long to start the third quarter. Dawson
Another good
again.
hole. Look at
Dawson, almost broke it.
My gosh.
Shady saved a touchdown. Dawson with 132 yards, and the adjustments have not worked here to start the third.
The only thing missing on that play was the Mack truck horn sounding after he got through that first level.
How about that? Everybody in
Yours
the chat
they
can take a poll of whose Mack truck
Yours
horn
is
was
better. I mean, you put a lot into it. I could tell.
First and goal at the 6. 4-minute drive for St. Louis. Hand off Dawson. Dawson looks a little gassed. Only picked up half a yard.
Yeah, he's definitely battling, but I like the play calling. I mean, you got to keep him involved in the game. So far, London's adjustments at halftime haven't been enough to stop Dawson from getting a positive gain.
St. Louis has 21 runs and 22 passes right now offensively. 2 in the backfield with Johns. Second and goal at the 6. Hand it off to Dawson one more time, and Johns is going to have to do it himself. Charles,
well, he can run
can't
it
do
again.
Well, I mean, he can, but unless they part the Red Sea,
yeah, definitely
again.
Well, they've been doing it.
Yeah,
but he's already got a $134, and that's incredible. I would not have guessed he'd have that much yards by now.
Might be tough sledding in the red zone. How about this? 10 on the line for London,
Look
and
at
the
that.
pass is knocked away.
Wow.
Slynn Shady, who was shading more towards the center of the field, actually reached behind him and knocked that ball away from Islani. Brilliant defensive play there made by Shady, and St. Louis, after 5 minutes of offense, going to have to settle for 3.
Yeah, I think he had one of his receivers on the right side, right at the goal line, that was wide open. I mean, he looked like he was focused on getting that ball in the middle, come heck or high water, but didn't work out on that play.
So a 21-yard chip shot for St. Louis to try to put them up 4 is down and good. And the Gladiators extend their lead similarly to London's first drive in the first quarter. How will the Knights respond? The offense well rested. You're watching the Simulation Football League presented by APM Music on 11 Sports. .604 to go in the third quarter. St. Louis kicks off, and the Knights on the run out to Hands.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what London does on this series, what kind of adjustments they made at halftime. I think they're looking to maybe strike it down the field a little bit more than they did in the first half.
If I'm London, I think I hammer it home to Streeter. Just try to get him going. See what you can get out of him in the second half. If it's not looking good early in the third, pull the plug, start throwing. But got to get Streeter in a rhythm if they can with 6 minutes to go in the third. Streeter breaks a tackle and picks up 7. Reggie Streeter, bona fide MVP candidate, trying to chase 2,000 yards tonight. A bit off from that, but he has had one heck of a season, including breaking the league's single-game rushing record earlier this year against New Orleans.
Yeah, great season for him, and also so far, great game for St. Louis defense in holding him to 39 yards rushing.
3 receivers, 2 to the left side of Roby. 4-3 defense for St. Louis. Roby going to throw. Roby out to Streeter, looking for a block. Got a block, first down. That block almost didn't get out there in time.
Definitely, yeah, it didn't.
But good patience.
Yeah, good patience, and especially on Streeter's part. He did the right thing and cut inside. I think maybe he was originally thinking about cutting to the outside, but saw that the blocker was maybe half step off.
Roby keeping a clean sheet tonight. It would be his first game of the season without an interception. Turnovers have been a bit of a problem for both teams.
Now you done did it,
as that pass is caught for a 4-yard pickup. I didn't do anything.
You opened it.
Don't you put that on me, Ricky Bobby. Pass caught by number 84, Charlie Balmer. We have to do our job still. We can't be afraid of all the broadcast curses.
I'm in trouble now. Do you want me to sit in the corner?
No, you can't. No, nobody's going to be able to hear you from over there. You can't take the mic with you. 2nd and 6. Streeter breaks a tackle. Streeter gets 4 to the 47-yard line of St. Louis. He pops up and starts jawing.
You see, St. Louis is keying on Streeter, and that's why I think maybe a tight end mid to deep pass down on one of the sidelines may result in a big play.
4 minutes left in a fast-moving third quarter. Fullback offset of Roby going to change the play. Roby floats one to the fullback, and that pass is knocked away. And that was J.J. Tiger, the outside linebacker, in coverage. And London got a little cute. And, I like the play call, but Tiger read it well.
I'd love to have grown up having a name J.J. Tiger. Is that not the coolest name ever?
That would be awesome. I would demand that my teacher say "Roaring Tiger" when she calls attendance or he calls attendance, and I just roar. Every time I would do it.
I would wear a fur coat in the colors of a tiger.
Wouldn't that get hot in the summer though?
Yeah, you gotta
own it.
You gotta own it, man.
If it's your identity, you're sweating through it. You gotta stay with it. I love the dedication. London has to punt it away on their first possession of the third, and a fair catch called for at the 11-yard line, and we're going to take a short break. Gladiators holding on to a 4-point lead. Be a big upset in their second win in a row. London needs a stop. We're back to Queensway in a moment. Welcome back to the United Kingdom. Late night action. London hosting St. Louis. The 1-9 Gladiators on top by 4. Dawson has been so clever. He has had such vision behind the line of scrimmage to not get stuck for negative yardage tonight. I think it's been his best trait.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's taken the hole. He's committing to that action, and he's also creative. I mean, hopping over defenders, making going right when he needs to, and going left when he doesn't. So far so good.
2nd and 5 at the 16. Johns fires middle of the field, caught.
Smart.
Nick Finch knocking Nathan Blake and DeAndre Washington over. First down to the Gladiator 29.
Yeah, they might have been expecting another run from from Diesel Dawson on that one.
Noah Johns completing 83% of his passes. And before you know it, you're going to be looking at Noah Johns and saying, hey, not a bad rookie season, young fella.
Yeah, not bad.
2:52 to go in the third quarter. Johns out of the gun in empty. 5 in the box for London. They rush 3. Can't get to Johns. Deep ball into traffic. And that time very well defended down the field. That pass breakup goes to Even Arthur. And he was in tremendous position. Pass intended for Finch.
Yeah, he was. And, not wild about on that play taking out the halfback. I mean, especially when he's been so effective, even if you use him as a decoy. I mean, once you commit to the pass like that, they haven't shown in the past that they've been able to be very productive.
Noah Johns, 11 touchdowns, 23 interceptions this season, but did have 3 touchdowns and just 1 pick last week in their win over San Francisco. Johns hit as he threw. Dangerous ball, and actually stepping out of bounds was the fullback, Don Billingsley, but he almost turned that into a positive play. I think they called it a completion, yeah.
that was odd.
As he backed his way out of bounds, but dangerous ball from Johns. That could have been pick six city all the way back.
It also could have been a sack, too. I mean, he had the pressure was starting to circle around him.
Both defenses, man, they're making these offenses earn it all night long. 3rd and 10 at the 29. 4 receivers for Johns, and London came with it. Off the hand of Ajlani. Thrown a little bit out too far ahead of him, and St. Louis comes up empty.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I mean, you say that if you get your hands on it, you can catch it, and I'm not sure. I wasn't able to see if he got both hands on it, but God, that would have been quite a momentum taker if they were able to get that completion.
4th and 10, 2:22 to go in the third quarter, and the Gladiators will punt it away. And the fair catch called for at the 42-yard line. 2:16 to go in the third quarter, and London in some of their best field position of the night.
Yeah, London's. They're number 2 in the league in points per game and rushing yards per game and rushing touchdowns per game. And so far, St. Louis has held them in check.
Yeah, that's a great point. This offense has been tough to slow down. Did have a tough game against Denver, but Denver stops everybody. As Roby fires it out to Streeter. Streeter, nice move in the open field, but Douglas wraps him up. Only a 2-yard pickup. And going back to that team comparison, I mean, you see total offense coming in. St. Louis 20th. London 3rd, but tonight more total yards for St. Louis, and it's not close right now.
Yeah, it's impressive the job that St. Louis has done on it. I know I sound like a broken record, but I mean, really, Streeter's been having an all-star season, and he's been relatively quiet.
I mean, they're outmatched in this game. London, clearly, I mean, all season long, with more talent. That passes, or that drop back for Roby is ended by Mo Biggins. That's his 2nd sack. It's 3rd and 14. And this St. Louis defense, man, feasting again.
Yeah, somebody, that looked like that was a missed blocking assignment there because there wasn't anyone there to touch him.
Just all alone, and big number 77, Joshua Payne, probably going to get some pain from the offensive line coach when he goes back to the sideline. That sets up a 3rd and 14 for the Knights. Not where they want to be. They need the 47.5-yard line of St. Louis for the first down. Play action for Streeter. Streeter again in trouble. Going to be sacked again. And that time Shane Masters gets to him. And I'm not really sure what Reggie Streeter is seeing down the field because he's looking like a deer in the headlights a little bit. 3rd sack of the night for St. Louis.
Yeah, it's an 11.5 sack for Shane Masters so far. And not sure. They keep going to that play action even on the passing downs. I don't think it's really fooling anybody at this point.
I would agree with you. And Roby, 16 of 26, 162 yards, still without an interception. So that's a positive for London. Peltier up to the 36-yard line. 38 seconds to go in the third. And you have I get the feeling that St. Louis more than London is just looking up at that clock.
Definitely.
What's going on? What's going on? Are we at the 2-minute warning yet?
Yep.
And I wonder if that's, this is when you have to be mentally tough in games like this, because London, they've been through this. They've been in a ton of close games this year.
and they can put points up in a heartbeat.
Yeah, they're not worried, I can assure you. 1st and 10 at the 36. Dawson breaks a tackle, gets 2 out to the 38. Now 141 yards on 24 carries and along a 27 for Dawson.
Impressive job so far. I mean, like you said, when they get into the fourth quarter, that's when that's when the stress starts to hit and they start watching the clock.
15 seconds to go in the third. Bunch out to the left for Johns. Noah Johns to throw. And
Look
wow,
at that.
what a throw! That's Flynn again! His 4th catch of the night for Kevin Flynn. And that brings us to the end of the quarter. St. Louis 17, London 13. What a ball game. Put your 4s up in the chat. We're back to the UK after this. Start of the fourth quarter, and St. Louis on the verge of pulling off an upset, but plenty of time left in the ball game. London, cool, calm, and collected. Still have plenty of opportunities. Gladiators trying to extend the lead. Only a field goal put up on the board here in the second half, and Dawson is going to be ransacked. That was even Arthur coming all the way over from his corner position.
That was superhuman what he did on that closing speed. He came around the end there, around the blocker, and just put that play to a halt.
6 catches, 85 yards for Islani, but he might regret the one he dropped on the last drive. Second down, that was probably the best London's defended Dawson all night. 2 in the backfield for Johns. 6 in the box for London. Johns to throw. Johns all kinds of time. Oh, get out of the way, Mr. Official. Nick Finch, despite all the traffic, makes the play. And Finch unquestionably the best wide receiver on this team. He looks the part, he acts the part every week.
Yeah, he's trusty too. I mean, you throw it to him and he's going to catch it. That was one of those plays where you're like, oh no, oh yes.
Exactly. Fullback handoff. Don Billingsley picks up a yard.
Nice.
A change of pace.
Get
there
the
from
fullback
St. Louis.
some action. Can we see replay on that?
A 1-yard replay for the fullback.
Hey,
don't listen to him in the truck.
Looking at a 275-pound human running the ball is quite a sight to see.
Man, 2nd and 9 of the 41. You are hard to please tonight. Give me that replay on that 1-yard pickup.
Stat.
9:35 to go in the fourth. 3 receivers, 2 in the backfield. Handoff goes to Dawson with the lead blocker, and Dawson got a few, but DeAndre Washington, who now has a game-leading 7 tackles, makes the play to force a 3rd down. St. Louis on the night is 4 for 10 on 3rd down.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. I mean, they just look at what happened since Johns made that interception. His QBR has just gone all the way up to 95. I think it was down around the 70s when he made that first interception.
Going to throw, 3rd and 6, going long. It's caught in between coverage. Johns up to 94. Malinishin and number 23, Dean Maddox, were in the vicinity, but this ball a bullet.
A bullet, and look at the aim on that. The accuracy is incredible.
That, man, as an football nerd honoree, I can honestly say that just makes me super giddy when you see a pass like that.
That was your giddy noise.
That it was. Woo! My goodness. What a pass. 1st and 10 at the night 14-yard line into the red zone for St. Louis, trying to make it a 2-score game with a touchdown.
Whoa!
Dawson cuts it outside and picks up 3 when nothing was there.
That was the most impressive 3-yard gain of the day.
Well,
he started from one zip code and had to run to the other.
Speaking of impressive short yard gains, how about Pseudo Nakai's run for 4 yards in the previous game? I don't know what you ate before that play, but it was making you jump around.
Yeah, that was off the charts.
8:05 to go in the fourth. Dawson stepping up the pocket, shuffling the feet, and gets it out to Dawson for nothing.
Well, he was getting some heat. He got rid of it. I mean, hasn't made many bonehead plays. It's the only thing I come up with. He's got one interception, but, most of the passes have been right where they needed to be. And, when he's had thrown it, got rid of it, it was when he had to because he was getting pressure.
Bixel was taken new in the chat. Haven't seen that username before. Welcome to the Simulation Football League. SimulationFL.net is the website. And please, if you're out there new watching, join our Discord server and know that you can go from couch to field in the upcoming rookie draft. And for next season, it's going to be an amazing season. John's pass is incomplete. Oh, that was the difference between 7-3 and nothing. And London may have missed an opportunity there. Everybody well covered.
Yeah, they missed the opportunity. Now that's all the pressure is on Zabrowski here to put some more points up on the board for St. Louis.
Wow, what a hit by Arthur. Watch this again. Little crossing.
Look at that. Wow.
Man.
Well, somebody should have caught that. I mean, it hit just about the entire secondary.
Pass intended for Scott. And it'll keep it a one-score game, whether Northrop makes or misses this kick.
Oh, I got the wrong guy. I said the punter. How about that?
That's all right.
Sorry,
it happens
Graham
to everybody.
Northrop.
I called me Charles a couple of
every
weeks
game
ago.
we have somebody's family waiting for us in the parking lot. Now it's the Northrop family, for crying out loud.
There's a flag on the field goal. How often do we see this? Northrop made the kick, but let's get the call. It's a hold on St. Louis. And that will back the penalty.
Back it up.
That's on Reed Mitchell, who was just signed a couple of weeks ago. And that's an interesting call because now the Gladiators will have to make a 38-yard field goal, which is a lot more difficult.
Yeah, this is a big play here.
Wow, could that penalty come back and haunt the Gladiators? 7:08 to go in the fourth quarter. Clock still rolling, which I don't understand, off of an incomplete pass from the previous down. So London's got to be griping about that. This 37-yard field goal is good. And for St. Louis, all it did was burn some more time off the clock. And the Gladiators will take a 20-13 lead, up 7, nail biter. We're back. You're watching the Simulation Football League on the 11 Sports Network. We're back in a moment. Tonight's Simulation Football League broadcast on 11 Sports is brought to you in part by Nation's Best Football, helping NFL, college, high school, and youth players to help #SecureTheBag. By ScoreStream, official live scoring app of the SFL. By Sector 6, custom esports jerseys and apparel in the exclusive SFL shop provider. And by Spygo, dedicated to the craft of audio. Aerial shots brought to you by AirViews, united by drone. Visit airviews.com to see more drone footage. And Charles, if you were thinking I owned any of this property, I do not.
I was looking. I was checking hard. I don't think they were the right rental level for Irvine.
Yeah.
Very nice neighborhood, but not quite Irvine.
Okay, all right. All right, I'll let you just keep thinking. It's 6:59 to go in the fourth quarter, and Hands returns up to the 30. That's about where he's returned almost every ball tonight. Neither returner has gotten beyond the 30-yard line, I don't think, this evening. So, despite not scoring a point in the second half, St. Louis has 2 field goals. London has not scored. They're still just down 7. Plenty of time.
So now we see if the real London will please stand up and put some points up on the board.
Yeah. Will the real Slyn Shady please stand up? I guess that applies to the offense as well. Defense been doing their part. Been looking nice. Streeter picks up 6, 49 yards. No reason to abandon the run.
No, definitely not. I mean, once you go one-dimensional in this league, you're gonna get. I think you're gonna get hammered.
2nd and 4 at the 36. 6:32 to go. Roby going to go empty here. Hands in the slot. I think Streeter's up top there. Watch out for him. Roby to pass. Roby in trouble. Roby goes down. Sack on the play. Once again for St. Louis.
Was that Masters again?
I think it was
Mo Biggins. Wow, it's the Mo Biggins show.
It's his 3rd of the evening, and he just came right around there, and nobody picked him up.
Somebody's got to stop that man. I mean, my gosh, they're doing what they need to do. They're really dominating that offensive line of London.
Mo Biggins, Mo sacks. 3rd and 10 at the 30. 6 minutes to go. Important 3rd down for London. They are just 2 for 10 on 3rd down tonight. Play action again on 3rd and long. Dump it short.
Wow.
And that's the 2nd time they've gone to this play action on 3rd. I mean, they're not fooling anybody. And London goes 3 and out.
Yeah, that wasn't a good series. It wasn't a good series at all for them. And it looked like the receivers, one of them didn't run the right route because they were standing right next to each other, looking at each other. Who's going to get the hot potato?
I'm with you. Will the real London please stand up, because this is pretty shocking. Now, Craig, I guess give credit where credit's due. St. Louis's defense, not making it easy on Roby and crew, and shutting down Streeter has been a big part of this game because it's put a lot of more.
They rely on him so much.
Yeah.
I mean, good point.
Yeah, it puts the pressure on Rob Roby where he's probably not used to having it this season. Streeter 49 yards on 14 carries, but his longest run of the night, Charles, is 9. 9 yards. We're going to take a quick break. St. Louis trying to get up by 2 scores for the first time tonight. We'll see what Dawson can do. You're watching the SFL on 11 Sports. First down for St. Louis to start the drive as Dawson picks up, actually lost a yard. That's his first stop in the backfield. Jeff Malinishin makes the tackle. We were talking about in the break, Charles. Reggie Streeter, he is the London Knights offense, having a rough night.
Yeah, I mean, he's their number 1 target for passing and number 1 target on the ground, obviously. And they've shut him down so far.
85 all-purpose yards for Streeter tonight. He has had 1849 on the ground coming in. Johns hit as he threw and nearly intercepted. Heck of an effort made by Tomello at the end of that play. He almost one-handed that thing diving on the ground.
Yeah, he almost did. That could have been, that could have been a pretty big sack there. He just got rid of the ball at the last second.
3rd and 11 at the 32. 5:11 to go in the fourth. Johns out of the shotgun. They got no help to block. 3-2 look out of the defense. Johns against a 3-man rush all day.
Go.
Going long, one-on-one coverage. He caught it at the 37-yard line. Badira's Lunny. First down with 5 minutes to go.
Yeah, that was an all-pro pass there. Unbelievable.
He just that is trusting your receiver. He just lofted up a jump ball. Go get it.
Yeah, he tried the pump fake. It didn't work, but he still went for it, and he got it in there. And, you can't you got to give credit to the receiver, too. He was able to go, oh, they challenged it.
Well, Crowder's won earlier tonight. This one, I'm not so sure. It looked like it was a catch to me. Let's see.
Oh, come
on.
on.
Well, he
Well,
only
that was
got the
yeah.
one. So, depending upon what mood R62 is in tonight, and he's not in the mood of Coach Crowder. That is a huge lost timeout. Now London has just 2, trailing by 7, under 5 to go.
That was a big play. That was a big play to keep the drive alive. I mean, you can't give London a shot at all. You got to keep control of the ball. You got to eat the time away, and that's what they needed to do. Maybe they got to get Dawson back in the game.
Was a double whammy too, because not only does Aslani make the great catch, but they lose the timeout at the end of it. John's throwing. Now he's starting to feel it. Zips one out for a 4-yard pickup to Flynn. 5 catches tonight for 43 yards for Flynn, and they've been 43 big yards.
Yeah, definitely big yards. But you got to get Dawson back engaged in this. You can't go all pass. You gotta be a little more balanced.
5 catches for Flynn, Finch, and Dawson, with 8 for 138 for Badir Aslani. Johns pass caught by Finch, and St. Louis has not gone conservative on this drive. They want to get some points. They're in field goal range now.
Yeah, well, we've seen, we said at one of the breaks that there haven't been a lot of turnovers in this game, but, if you keep passing like that and not keeping the defense on their toes for the running game, you could easily throw an interception.
Johns is now 30 for 37, 281 yards passing tonight. 3rd and 1 at the London 27-yard line, 4:05 to go in the fourth quarter. Johns hands it off Dawson. Got a block first down. Dawson picks up 6 to the 21-yard line, and you're referencing good meaning the blocking.
Yeah, that's what you got to do. I mean, the offensive line has been doing it all night, and they want it. They want to be able to prove themselves, especially on a challenging play like that, a short down yardage play. They want to be able to go head-to-head against that defense and be able to, win, and they did it on that play.
The chat reacting to that long pass play down the field. Mr. Andrew Zev, Cheeseburger Rivers, Crazy 8s 2000, Football Dude 93. I'm having a problem. There's a lot of gladiators in the chat tonight. And Dawson cuts it back to pick up 3. 3:20 to go in the fourth. St. Louis bleeding the clock here, and it might not be a pretty victory, but if they can kick a field goal and go up by 10, it might be enough tonight. Yeah,
again, that's what they need to do. They just need to keep running it and milking the clock, and then if they get a field goal out of it, so be it. But no urgency to get a touchdown right away.
3 in the backfield, down to 2:55 to go, and 10 on the play clock. Johns under center, staying cool, calm, and collected. Handoff Johns. Nothing. Wow, stuff there. Well done by Slyn Shady and company. St. Louis will have to run one more play before the 2-minute warning. It's 3rd and 7.
Yeah, so London has 2 timeouts. I was going to say that, that challenge back there, if they would have had 3 full timeouts, I would have recommended that they call a timeout before that 2-minute mark, but now they don't have enough.
St. Louis is just bled the clock in this second half. They have 75 offensive plays to just London's 54. 3rd and 7. Can't make a mistake here if you're Johns. Looks like he might pass. 3 receivers. Johns going to throw. Johns far side, caught. First down to the 10.
Big play.
I think that slot corner, and I'm not seeing
Flynn again.
I'm not seeing a number right away on that play, but I think he thought that Johns was going inside, and instead, that's actually Dwayne Hamby, and he went outside. Now, it did take him out of bounds with 1 second to go before the 2-minute warning. So that not good for St. Louis, but Johns able to convert yet another third down. The Gladiators are 7 for 15 on third down tonight. Offside, London. Knights melting down under this immense pressure. St. Louis, it feels like they've been on the field this entire quarter after London had the 3 and out ages ago.
Yep, they're definitely milking the clock like they need to. And, you said they stopped the clock before, but I think they would take 1st and 10 with 2 minutes on their on the 10-yard line.
And that's the 2-minute warning. We'll break down the updated playoff standings when we come back. Talk about who's all in and who's all out. Big drive left to go for St. Louis. Put up or shut up time right now for London. 1st and 5 at the 5. The Knights have 2 timeouts. St. Louis protecting a 1-score lead, which they've never led by more than 7 tonight. Dawson changes that with a touchdown. Nobody touched him, and the Gladiators are up 13 on the road.
Unbelievable. I mean, they've been doing it all game. That offensive line has been giving holes to Dawson, and he's been capitalizing on it. Look at that hole. I mean, it didn't look like he was touched until he crossed the goal line.
Wow, that gives the Gladiators a cushion, and if there's any silver lining for London, it means that now they will feel incredibly motivated to go and score a touchdown because time is not on their side. St. Louis, what an impressive drive. I'm going to have to get the drive summary from statistician Stephen Hacker behind the scenes because that may have been one of the best drives I've seen all season.
Yeah, that was textbook what they needed to do. I mean, I think that was 11-play drive for 65 yards, and they got that touchdown and ate up a lot of time on the clock.
So London down 2 scores. They need an answer. That touchdown pass that they got was wide open to Trevor Farrell. Has he caught a pass since?
And I don't believe so.
I'd be looking in his direction.
Look at that. There we go.
Oh, there you go. That's Hands on the
go.
return.
Here we go.
Hands breaks the tackle. It's Donnie Hands at the right time. Touchdown, London, and they're not dead yet.
What a play. What a play. I believe that's his first kickoff return touchdown in his career.
Wow, congratulations to Donnie Hands. And look at all the fireworks. They've been saving up for that tonight. And London, I mean, he was bottled up. He had nothing. And Hands,
he almost got brought down there too, right in at that first where the scrum was.
Holy mackerel. James Hands, or Donnie Hands rather, may have made the biggest play of London's season there.
Oh, they needed that.
And with just 2 timeouts, they're going to have to onside kick. But we've seen a couple of onside kicks already recovered tonight.
Yeah, this is big.
There were 4 first downs in that drive, according to Galvez behind the scenes in our stats truck, talking about the St. Louis drive previously. But now the Gladiators are starting to feel like, man, why is it so difficult to get a win around here? As London makes the play on special teams.
Well, there's no give up in London. I mean, that was a big play. It was needed. It put some life back into them, and now they're against the odds here on this onside kick. But let's see what happens.
No quit in the Knights on the onside kick for Noe. Pops it up. That's a good onside kick. Mad scramble for the ball, and St. Louis recovers. Oh, that was close. You can't get a much better onside kick than that. And I think that might have been, was that Cody Scott on the recovery?
Yeah, it might have been. Yeah, it didn't look like it was going to turn out well for St. Louis at the beginning, but Scott reeled that in and held on.
Well, it's not over yet. Because Graham Northrup, we know he doesn't have a leg from 52, probably not even 50.
Right.
Maybe 48, 49. Dawson already has 32 carries tonight, averaging 5 yards a carry. London needs a stop. Hand off to Dawson. Dawson still got 3 and took a bit of time off the clock. London calls a timeout. Knights not dead yet.
Well, I mean, don't St. Louis can't lose their cool. I think they got to stick with what got them here and don't try and do anything fancy and maybe make a mistake and get the ball back into London's hands.
1:35 to go in the fourth quarter. St. Louis 7 yards away from their second straight victory after starting the season 0-9. It just goes to show you anything is possible if you stick with it. Dawson picks up 1, and London burns their last time out. I mean, St. Louis, and by sticking with it, I mean the camaraderie of the team.
Yeah,
St. Louis decided to make a change in the right moment of the season. And may have waited a little bit too late, but it's so hard to tell in situations like that.
I think we're looking at maybe Dawson's a little gassed here. He's got 34 carries. That's a high pitch count.
This might be on Johns. This is the play of the game. They're going to throw on 3rd and 6.
No!
Hit as he threw. There's a flag. It hit the offensive lineman in the back of the head, so that's going to be a penalty on St. Louis that stops the clock, and London has a chance, a legitimate chance, to go and tie the game.
This is crazy.
But I think you're right. I mean, Dawson looked a little exhausted. He has had 34 carries tonight. Johns tried to make it happen, but William Davidson makes the play.
Yeah, this is London's getting the ball back, and this is dangerous. They've definitely got the momentum, I think, on their side, but time is a factor here, and some efficient play calling here is key.
Chat reaction to the touchdown by Hands. And now, with 1:29 to go, no timeouts, London just needs a touchdown to tie. What kind of punt can St. Louis get? A good one. Bouncing inside the 5, and they'll mark it officially at the 5, downing it maybe a little prematurely, Benny Brazil.
Yeah, Benny. Not sure Benny needed the slide, but that's okay. He got it done.
1:18 left. I try to find Farrell on that corner route again.
Yeah, you got it, but you got that. I think you bring up a good point. You got to go sidelines here, and you keep it away from the middle.
Rick Northrup in the chat saying Rick Meter all over the play, all over the map. 4 wide for Roby. 1:18 to go. Going play action. Roby dumps it short.
That's not what you got to do.
Yeah, that's not what you need. That was Langley, the intended receiver. Come on, you got a pair of 6'6" receivers out there. And Roby, after he got off to a great start tonight, 16 of 28, averaging 5.8 yards an attempt. They need.
I think he's only had about 20 passing yards in the second half.
Yeah,
he was at around 150 at the half.
He needs a boost to shoot the ball down the field here, but St. Louis' secondary, especially Drew Riley's been impressive. Another play-action pass,
they like
and
that play
pass
action.
is tipped and incomplete. It's 3rd down and 10. London cannot get out of this offensive philosophy here in the second half.
I thought you were going to say quagmire.
That would have been an excellent word. I am not a wordsmith. I'm more of a numbers guy. But stellar job. What was it? The Sparrows game. You had like 6 different ways last week to describe the Sparrows. 3rd and 10. London needs some answers. Play action from the end zone. Going long. The pass is caught.
No.
Caught at the 28-yard line by James Hands.
Wow. That was silly.
Boy, they made us look like a fool because Hands makes the play.
Well, I mean, he threw it to a 7'5" receiver there. Oh, my gosh. What a great look at that throw. I mean, there was no way the defender could have done a thing to stop that pass.
Perfect throw, and it stopped the clock with 1:06 to go in the fourth quarter.
Wow.
London still has a pulse, and all the teams, the Vancouvers, the Houstons, the Tulsas, the Sioux Falls looking at this game and going, come on, St. Louis, close it out. 4 receivers for Roby. 6 in the box. Roby play fake. Roby in trouble. Flips it outside to Hands. Caught. 9-yard pickup to the 36-yard line. Roby, despite looking very perplexed in the there's a word for you in the pocket.
Wow.
He's making it happen.
Yeah, he loves to play action tonight too. So
I don't think I've ever seen more play action called in the game in my life. But it's working for him on this final drive. Roby empty here. 1:01 to go. Farrell's in. He's to the right now of Roby. Back to pass. 4-man rush. Roby it as he threw. And that was Shane Masters getting more pressure. It's 3rd and 1 at the 58 with 58 seconds to go. And if I'm London, I think about maybe handing this ball off to Streeter. Just get the first down.
yeah, definitely. Maybe call a timeout and then get settled,
Well,
get the right package in.
If they had any.
Yeah.
But,
I'm sorry, they don't have. I thought they had one. I thought I saw
just to get the first
Yeah.
down, then
Yeah.
regroup.
Maybe stop the
Yeah,
clock.
spike the ball.
I meant to
something.
say stop the clock.
3rd and 1 at the 36-yard line. Under center. 7 in the box. St. Louis showing a blitz. St. Louis backs off. Oh! Roby avoids a sack and
kidding me?
completes it for a first
Are you
down.
kidding me?
Goodness gracious, that was Reggie Streeter.
That was like a Bruce Lee move.
Streeter is lined up to the left of the line, all the way to the end of it, but the clock is moving, and
There he
Roby
goes.
spikes the ball.
Stop the ball. Stop
How
it.
about that creative play? Love that play
Yep.
call from London right there.
That was great. That was a great play call.
Instead of running it, they found Streeter, but I mean, lining Streeter up just a little bit off the line. That was very clever. It was well covered, but
Got
Roby
plenty of time.
makes it happen. They do have plenty of time. 44 seconds to go. They need 61 yards. 12 on the play clock. 4 receivers. This is where they've been going play action tonight. There they go.
there you
Roby.
go.
Well protected,
Oh,
though.
here we go.
Roby deep shot. It is knocked up in the air. Oh, Colin Douglas had 2 opportunities at the football.
Wow.
And it's 3rd and 10. And look at Douglas. I don't think so, man. You got one already on me.
Oh my gosh. For a second there, I thought I got past Douglas, and then
Oh, man.
that would have been a showstopper.
James Hands now targeted 9 times, so you can't say that they haven't been trying to get him the ball. 81 yards, 5 receptions. Play action. Roby fires middle. Wide open is Langley.
You got to be quick,
To
guys.
the Gladiator
Stop the
47-yard
clock.
line. Gotta spike it.
Stop it.
Gotta spike it. 25 seconds left. And Roby spikes it. 23 seconds left. And this is critical for London. You don't want to end up in a Hail Mary formation.
Definitely not.
About 12 seconds left is what you're working with. So London needs to get maybe, let's call it 25 yards in the next 12 seconds or so to really give them a good shot. And lined up with the 4 wide set with Streeter in the backfield. Play fake again. And Roby going long. It's incomplete. Douglas there on the coverage. 3rd and 10.
Yeah, I would try and shoot maybe a 20, 25 yard, like you said. You don't want to get too close to the goal line because you don't, obviously you don't have a lot of time, but obviously on the snap you won't have a lot of time for the play to develop and get it to the receiver.
Still in it. 19 seconds to go. 47. Boy, they're in this formation again. They have just been killing this all night. But Hands had the big catch on the corner route earlier.
We got him on single coverage out there, so maybe the odds will.
Roby near side, out of bounds. Donnie Hands was just standing out of bounds. You got to have more awareness than that, Donnie. And it's 4th down at the St. Louis 47-yard line. And now all of a sudden, it felt 30 seconds ago you had a ton of time. Not so much anymore.
I think you got 2, maybe 3 plays left if you get the first down on this next play.
16 seconds left. Same formation. Boy, London is just...
Let's see if he does the play action.
Yeah, they're in a funk. There it goes. Needs 10. Roby sacked.
Huge sack.
Roby sacked.
Huge.
Shane Masters, his
Wow.
3rd of the night, or 2nd of the night, rather. And that is ball game.
Wow.
St. Louis going to get the win.
Well, it's fitting. The defense stood up and did it all day. You know, that
Wow.
was a fitting play for them.
Wow, and a tough break. You know, that's what happens in a controllerless esport. Sometimes you just have something you don't expect in there that can screw up an important night. And tonight for London, they just got jammed. They just got in a jam with the play calling down the stretch, and that's tough. Rob Roby did his best. I thought he did. You know, he executed it quite well, but just not enough time and not enough yardage. And the St. Louis Gladiators, after losing 9 straight to start the season, win their 2nd in a row. And London still in the playoff race, but going in the wrong direction. They'll need a big win over Vancouver and lots of help next week. There's your final stats. 429 to 257, and the St. Louis Gladiators get their first ever win over the London Knights.
They held the potential MVP of the league to 49 yards rushing.
Wow.
That is unbelievable. And as I said at the last snap of the game, it's fitting that St. Louis got that sack because they've been playing their hearts out the entire game.
And the Gladiators won this game without an interception from their secondary. Roby kept a clean sheet for the first time this season. Played a nice game. A lot of jump balls down the field that were defended well by Douglas and really
Definitely,
to St. Louis's credit.
Definitely. So I think the key was the running game with Dawson, the blocking for the offensive line, and the entire defense for St. Louis. I mean, God, every one of those players should get a game ball.
All right, your player of the game is who, would you say?
Well, I would say Diesel Dawson. I mean, he was the workhorse. He was basically, he came to the game and he was dressed up like Reggie Streeter.
Yeah.
The role of Reggie Streeter tonight will be played by Diesel Dawson.
And Diesel Dawson is your player of the game. A whopping 35 carries, but St. Louis spaced them out well. 166 yards and 2 touchdowns. They had 35 runs and 38 passes tonight on the road. It's London's first home loss of the season, and St. Louis is riding a ton of momentum into next week when they face New Orleans, who is also 2-9. For Stephen Hacker, Rochelle Colston, Galvez, Charles Doherty, and myself, Cameron Irvine, have a great night, everybody. What a game here from London. The playoffs just keep getting more interesting.
Good night.